What's up everyone, Jun with the Sushi Man, and in this video, I'll show you how to make mainland style poke bowls, meaning the poke you typically see outside of Hawaii, where it's in a bowl of rice or greens and you can choose all sorts of toppings to go with it. And no, it's not the traditional way to eat it, but that doesn't mean that it's not delicious. In fact, after you watch this video, it might be the only way you want to eat it. So let's get right into it. First, let's cover our ingredients. Now, a lot of these items are optional, and that's the beauty of mainland style poke, right? You can pick and choose what you want and customize it to your own liking. So obviously, you don't have to get all these ingredients. Okay, so let's start off with our main items. The first one is the rice. Now, this is not sushi rice, just regular steamed white rice. I use Japanese short grain and it's what I recommend, but you can use whatever type of rice you prefer. And we'll need about 2 cups to make our 2 bowls. Next, we have some mixed greens, about a cup or so. And then for a protein, we'll be using some yellowfin tuna, about 4 ounces, some salmon, again about 4 ounces, and then 4 sticks of kanikama, which is imitation crab meat. Now for our sides, or add-ons is what we used to call them on our menu, English cucumber, about 2 to 3 inches, a half of an avocado, 1 to 2 green onions, a quarter of a white onion, and you can use yellow, red, or sweet onion if you prefer. I personally like the white onion because it's kind of in the middle, not too pungent and not too sweet. Next, we have some edamame that's been shelled, sometimes called mukimame. And you can find these at Asian markets or even your local grocery store will carry them a lot of times. We'll need about 1/3 of a cup. And then we have some seaweed salad, about 2 ounces or so. And lastly, some masago, which are tiny little smelt roe, about 1 tablespoon. Okay, now let's move on to our ingredients for the sauces. First, we have our poke sauce, and this is a combination of soy sauce, unagi sauce, mirin, and sesame oil. Next, we have the crab salad sauce we'll use for the kanikama, which is Japanese mayo, sesame oil, rice vinegar, soy sauce, and mirin. And then some spicy mayo, unagi sauce, and a little bit of my spicy powder blend, which is a mix of Korean gochugaru, cayenne, and chili powder. Okay, those are the sauces I'll be using for this recipe, but you can also use ponzu or just soy sauce by itself works as well. Alright, now let's go over our toppings. The first one is furikake, which is Japanese rice seasoning. Asian markets will carry different flavors of these and sometimes regular grocery stores as well. Next, some toasted sesame seeds. And then some fried onion crisps. You can also use tempura crisps or kizami nori, which is shredded dried seaweed. Both are great toppings as well. Alright, and that's it for the ingredients. Now let's move on to our prep. Alright, first thing we're going to do is cook our edamame. And all we need to do is boil a small pot of water and throw these in for a few minutes. But make sure to read the packaging because every brand is a little different. Now let's drain this and rinse it with cold water. And that's it, done. Alright, next let's cut our white onion. First, cut this crosswise in half. And then we're going to slice this about 1/8 of an inch thick. Watch. Now let's soak these in a bowl of cold water for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then strain it, and we're going to pat it dry with some paper towels. And done. Now let's cut our green onion. And you've seen me do this a ton of times in my other videos. Makes me realize how much green onion we use in Japanese cooking. Anyways, we're going to cut this as thin as we can, crosswise, and green and white parts both. Alright, now let's cut the cucumber. First, cut this in half the long way. And then just cut these into thin slices again. Watch. Now on to the avocado. Basically, we're just cutting it down into slices, or you could cut it into cubes if you prefer. Alright, now let's move on to our proteins. First, let's get the kanikama salad ready. And you can use pre-shredded imitation crab meat. However, I recommend the sticks like this because typically they're higher quality. So first, we just cut this in half. And then we're just going to shred it into our bowl here. Now we add in the crab salad sauce in here. And then just give it a good mix. And that's it. Moving on to our tuna. And this is about a 4-ounce piece of yellowfin tuna saku. And all we're going to do is cut it down into about 3/4 inch cubes, about the size of a standard dice. Now we put this into a bowl, and then we're going to add in our poke sauce, about 1 tablespoon of it. Then we give it a good mix. And simple as that. Now let's get our salmon ready. And we're going to make this one a spicy salmon poke. So same thing as the tuna, we're just going to cut this down into cubes. And this time, we're going to add in some spicy mayo, about a tablespoon or so. A little bit of unagi sauce, about a half teaspoon. And then poke sauce, about a half teaspoon as well. And then a few dashes of the spicy powder blend. And of course, you can adjust this to your liking. If you want it spicier, then add a bit more, and vice versa. Now we just mix, mix, mix. And that's it. Now that's everything for our prep. Now basically we just assemble these in our bowls, add some toppings, and then it's time to grub. But really quick before we move on, if you're liking this video so far, then I assume you like poke. And if you like poke, then I assume you like sushi. Now, have you ever thought about making sushi at home, but it was too intimidating? Well, let me tell you about my book. It's called How to Make Sushi at Home, a fundamental guide for beginners and beyond. It's basically a full-on sushi course that's simplified into one easy-to-follow guidebook. I take you step by step, teaching the fundamentals of sushi making and advancing you all the way to professional sushi chef level. So whether your dream is to become an itamae at a sushi restaurant, or want to impress your family and friends with some homemade sushi, this book is your answer. Links are in the description below for those that are interested. Alright, now back to the video. Okay, first thing that's going into the bowl is the rice. And a little tip here is to let the rice cool down a bit. Doesn't have to be cold, just not straight out of the rice cooker hot. You can just let it sit out for a few minutes or fan it to cool it down faster. Alright, next we'll add in a bit of mixed greens. Now, I like to drizzle on some poke sauce here onto the rice and greens, so that we get some extra flavor that seeps into there. Okay, now we add in our sides. So cucumber, avocado, some green onion, edamame, white onion, some seaweed salad, and a spoonful of masago. Alright, now let's put on the proteins. Crab salad, tuna right in the middle, and the spicy salmon. Alright, and lastly our toppings. First, I'd like to sauce it with a little bit of unagi sauce, and then some spicy mayo. Now let's add some furikake. Then grind some toasted sesame seeds. And then lastly, some fried onion crisps. And check that out. It's been a little while since I made poke bowls at home, but man, I am excited. And these were always a huge hit. We would run out all the time when we served them at our pop-up restaurants. And as I mentioned, the beauty of mainland style poke is that you can customize it however you like. I do highly recommend making it my way, but don't worry, you're not going to hurt my feelings if you don't follow this recipe to the T. Alright, great job crew, and now that you know how to make mainland style poke, check out a more traditional Hawaiian style poke recipe by going to this video right over here. Thanks for watching, and feel free to leave any questions or comments below. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button if you found this video helpful. I mean, you're watching till the very end, so you must have liked it, right? I'll see you on the next one. ありがとうございます。